Hey guys, Jordan from Condo here. Today I want to talk about one of my favorite topics, floor plans. We're going to be going through some of my least favorite floor plans that I've seen in recent. This is by no means like the worst floor plans in the city, but these are the worst of the recent ones I've looked at. And to my developer friends, I know some of you guys managed to find the time to watch my videos, and for that I'm grateful, but remember here, we're on the same team. So if you're watching this video and you see one of your floor plans, me and the viewers are smart enough to know that you're not purposely making these floor plans. Sometimes architecturally, you're left with very unique situations, and you're just making the best use of the space that you have. Trust me, okay? Before I get any like bad emails, I'm not calling you out specifically. All right, every building's got one or two terrible floor plans. These are just the ones that I've picked. So the first one I want to talk about here is this 595 square foot studio. Now this isn't the worst in the world by all means, but it's definitely an inefficient floor plan, and it has the floor plan kiss of death curvature. So as soon as you have curved windows, unless you're a really large unit, you really start to feel that in your square footage or your usable square footage. So this is when you enter here, you've got your sleep quarters. Can't be called a bedroom, obviously, because you don't have a door, natural light. You don't have a closet either. This is your only closet space here. You walk down this long hallway, and you've got your living and dining, which is kind of tough to furnish. Not too bad. You do have this back wall here, so you kind of put a couch here, coffee table there, TV there, but you know, no real space for dining or anything like that. So it's a tough floor plan to make use of. Obviously, you've got the galley kitchen to save space, but it is large, right? 600 square feet for a studio is large, and the only time you're going to see a 600 square foot studio is when they couldn't really fit anything else there. All right, so next up we have this floor plan, and this is a commercial building. This is a much older floor plan, so I don't know the exact square footage of this one, but I can tell you it's a really large unit. You know, 750 square foot plus. And this one is a bit technically a studio and den, right? Because the bedroom's here. It's obviously not a real legal bedroom, and then you've got a den off the entrance. So something fun to know about commercial buildings, they have a much larger floor plate than a residential building. So when you're converting a commercial building, you're making hard lofts, something like that, you find the builder will make a lot of large floor plans because that's the only real way to make good use out of the square footage you have. When you try to make smaller floor plans, you often get stuff like this, really long, sort of narrow bowling alley units, we call them. And this is one of the most egregious ones I've seen. So you walk in through here, you've got your den. It's actually decent size by 5.5 by almost 8. You've got your only bathroom and your sleeping quarters. And then you enter into the living and dining. Now, the living and dining is actually decently laid out. It's kind of your standard one-bedroom living and dining space at almost 10 wide by 19 long. You got the galley kitchen here. So it's not the worst living and dining, but the rest of the unit is really hard to make efficient use of. And so if you see something like this on the pre-construction market, you have to be aware, right? I find a lot of people on the pre-construction market they go down the price list with their calculator, or they enter it into an Excel sheet or a Google sheet or whatever, and they just calculate the per square foot, and they're like, I want that one. It's the lowest price per square foot. A lot of times you got to pull up the actual floor plans and realize that down the line on the resale market or the rental market, no one's touring through the building going, well, this one's $329 per square foot per month, and this one's $370 per square foot per month. I'm going to lease the cheaper one. They're going to lease the one that they're just going to book all the one in dens, right? They're going to go out on an afternoon of showings, and they're going to rent the one that feels the best to them. So you have to keep in mind, it's not all about the price per square foot. That's not where the value lies. There are mispriced units when you're buying pre-construction, and you have to compare floor plans to be able to figure it out. Sometimes those crappy units are actually worth buying, right? Sometimes the developer has discounted them too much. And other times it's almost the same price per square foot as a functional layout. And so it makes more sense to go for the functional layout. It really just depends on how the building is priced. Next up, we have a 774 square foot studio. It is a triangular studio. Triangle floor plans are just really tough, man. They're really hard to make work. And you've got also a support column. So when we see support columns, best case scenario, they're in the corners of the units. So again, on a unit like this, really hard to furnish, really hard to make use of. Your only storage is right here in the entryway. This is something you'd want to see a really healthy discount on to make sense from a value perspective. Now we have this studio. Now I actually like the studio, funny enough. I just included it here to kind of show two studio opposites, right? This studio is 382 square feet, and it sells on the resale market for north of $550,000. So it is actually a good unit in a good location. But you have this long hallway, right? And this, it's not the worst floor plan, but I included it to talk about wasted square footage. So when you're talking about what makes an efficient floor plan versus what doesn't, a lot of the time it comes down to how much square footage is wasted in corridors. When you're talking about a very small unit, you just don't have a lot of square footage to waste in long hallways. And this is an instance of that. Now, tip of the cap to the developer, right? And their marketing team. Their marketing team should get a raise because they took this long hallway and they renamed it to Art Gallery. And that's some of the best marketing I've ever seen. I absolutely love to see that. So this is where you store your NFTs and all of your expensive art pieces in your 382 square foot studio. So don't think of it as a hallway. Think of it as an art gallery. I'm going to start using that myself. And by contrast, this one is 329 square feet. So this studio looks smaller, but if you look at the dimensions of the living, dining, and kitchen on these two units, you actually have the exact same amount, almost the exact same amount of usable square foot. Actually a little bit more on this unit. So if you're looking at a pre-construction price list, you're looking at two studios. These two should actually be very close in end price to each other because you're getting the same amount of actual usable square footage, right? Now we're moving on to some larger units. This is a 2-bedroom, just over 1,000 square feet. First glance, this looks like a great unit, right? It's the 2 bedrooms aren't split, but it is a really large unit. It has 2 full baths, this beautiful L-shaped kitchen with this island, and your living and dining is plenty wide. However, there are no windows here or here. The only window you have, the only natural light you have even entering the living and dining and kitchen area is from this balcony door here. So you're gonna have some light that filters in here. There's also a support column here blocking this side of the balcony. So depending on time of day, this is going to be a super dark unit. And this isn't a premium building, a really expensive luxury boutique building. The price per square foot on this was very similar to other 2 bedrooms that had full walls of windows. So this is a unit I would avoid. And kind of you got your flip side of that here. You have what is maybe one of the best 2-bedroom layouts I have seen, sub 1,000 square feet, just a flawless, super functional, no wasted square footage. The only downside to this unit is no balcony. You have bedrooms on opposite ends of each other, and you have, I don't know what that is, like 20, 10, 10. You have 40 feet of linear windows going across it, really wide floor plate. Of course, this building is unique because it's a really wide building, very shallow building. So, much easier to make really good floor plans, but this is an incredible 2-bedroom layout. Now I want to talk about curved units. This unit I actually like, all right? This unit's in Humber Bay and it gets an unobstructed view of the lake and the skyline. So the city skyline, you get to see the sunrise over the city in the morning. But it's and I've been in a number of these units, really nice units, almost 1,300 square feet. But I'm showing this one because curved units feel a lot smaller than they are. So it certainly doesn't feel like 1,300 square feet. It feels like 1,000 square feet, right? Or maybe a little bit more, maybe 1,100 square feet. Maybe I'm exaggerating here, but that's sort of my point here is, it gets really tight. You've got a couple support columns. They're placed decently well, right? It's not like they're in the middle of the unit, making it really hard to furnish. But this unit in Humber Bay has the exact same view. So it gets both the unobstructed lake view and the skyline view. And it's just a couple buildings over. And I would take this one over the other one all day long simply because it sells for less, right, on the market because it is smaller, and it feels like it's the same size, I'll be honest with you. So it's a 2 den, but the den is basically an L-shaped extension on the living and dining. So it could be a separate home office, it could be a 3rd bedroom if you needed it to be, or could just be additional living space. And this master bedroom, the developer here has gone to the extra trouble to have it all windows. So you can see basically the city skyline and the lake is over here. So you get to see the sunrise from the master bedroom. And the living and dining room is 13 feet wide. So it's a really wide layout. So this unit, in my opinion, is better than this unit, despite the fact that this one sells for almost $2 million more on the resale market. Here we have a 1-bedroom. This unit does have a really nice balcony. It gets really nice views as well. Downside to this is just really hard to make use of it. And you can see even with the mock-up, micro furniture, they've struggled here. They've got this sort of love seat facing this wall, the TV on this wall, little dining setup here, little chair in the corner. This is a support column. It's not colored in, but that is what that is. Got a little den or a little office space here, and this bedroom's not too bad, but this is measuring from here and from here, so it's smaller than it looks. And yeah, so this is a tough one, but it is a really small unit, and the price on this was discounted. So now this one I pulled from David Fleming's vlog. I don't know the square footage. I don't know how big it is or what building. Actually, I think I do know which building it is, but triangular units just really hard to make use of. Tons of just wasted square. Like what are you even going to do up here? What could you do, right? Because if you put a TV here, you have a couch here, you've got all this dead space, maybe a chair in the corner, just a really tough layout and a really small bedroom with no natural light. At least it doesn't have a support column in the middle of it, but it's certainly not a good floor plan. And the overwhelming takeaway from this video, if there really is, it's more of a fun video, but if there is a takeaway, it is to be more careful when you're picking floor plans and price lists. Per square foot is not the sole determining factor of value. Use it as a guide to determine, versus resale, what kind of premium am I paying, apples to apples. But do your best when you're looking at floor plans to try to find those mispriced units and find where those opportunities lie in pre-construction. That's all for this video, guys. If you want to get in touch with me to talk about pre-construction condos, talk about real estate investing in general, the link is in the description below, and I will see you guys next video.